Hello, my name is Terence and welcome to Building Blocks English. Today we're going to talk about present simple and present continuous. This is the first video in our series on basic tenses. Today we're going to talk about how we use these tenses and why we use these tenses. Knowing these basic tenses is incredibly important because they are the foundation of all tenses and grammar structures in English. In English, in particular, present simple and present continuous are two completely different tenses and they cannot be interchanged. If you use one for the other, you will create a sentence that has the wrong meaning or it just might be grammatically incorrect. So let's begin. Present simple. We start off with some really basics here. The form. In the positive statement form, I go shopping on Mondays. We use the base verb go. With other pronouns, I go, you go, he, she, it, John goes, don't forget the verb S, they go. In the negative, I do not go shopping on Mondays. With other pronouns, I do not go, you do not go, he, she, it, John does not go, and they do not go. Don't forget the contractions. So we can say don't for do not, doesn't for does not, and don't for do not again. In the question form, do you go shopping on Mondays? Do I go? Do you go? Does he, she, it, or John go? Do they go? Why do we use these tenses? First of all, we use present simple to talk about habits and routines. I go to the gym 3 times a week. These sentences usually come with an adverb of frequency. These include adverbs like sometimes, often, always, once in a blue moon, twice a year, and never. We will have another video in this series on where to use adverbs. 2. To talk about facts and things that are generally true. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and then begins to evaporate. Boils, begins. You can see that this sentence here talks about a scientific fact. You know that this is always true, so we use the present simple. 3. We use present simple with state verbs. I believe in Santa Claus. Believe is a state verb. Make sure you check out our other video on state verbs. Present continuous. The form. I am reading a book. Remember, the form is the be verb plus verb plus ing. So you have am reading. With the other pronouns, I am reading, you are reading, he, she, it, John is reading, they are reading. In the negative form, I am not reading a book. I am not reading, you are not reading, he, she, it, John is not reading, they are not reading. Don't forget that you can use contractions with these. Are not becomes aren't. Is not becomes isn't. In the question form, am I reading a book? Am I reading? Are you reading? Is he, she, it, John reading? Are they reading? So why do we use the present continuous? First of all, we talk about actions in progress right now. So what are you doing right now? Well, you or I am watching a YouTube video. So am watching. I, myself, am teaching you about present simple and present continuous. Number 2, actions in progress these days. What does it mean these days? It's not right now, but it's like before now and after now, but it is a temporary action. So for example, I am reading a great book by W. Smith at the moment. So often these sentences have a time phrase like at the moment or these days or nowadays. Both of these uses are what we call temporary actions. They are not permanent and they will finish sometime in the future. 3. Gradual changes. These are slow changes that keep happening and they might not be that obvious to see, but it is happening. For example, it's getting colder these days. Winter is coming. Is getting. Well, I guess it's autumn in this sentence. Summer just finished, and as the weeks go by, over the next few months, the temperature is dropping slowly until it hits winter. 4. We can use present continuous to talk about annoying habits using the adverb always. So for example, my brother is always leaving his toys everywhere. As you can see, this is an annoying habit by my brother. You can use present simple as above. My brother always leaves his toys everywhere. But this is another way that we can use the present continuous, and it is very common. But make sure that you use always. It is necessary. Okay, final points. It is important to use the right tense at the right time. Using the wrong tense will create a sentence that just does not make sense. There are languages out there where present simple and present continuous are the same thing, but English is not one. So knowing why you use the tenses can help you to avoid making mistakes. Let's have a look at a few sentences to see this important point. I live with my parents. I am living with my parents. The first one is present simple. It talks about a permanent situation, and it means that you always live with your parents. Maybe you're a child, maybe you're a teenager, maybe you haven't moved out from your house. In the second sentence, I'm living with my parents. This is a temporary situation. This is not normal. Maybe the full sentence is, I'm living with my parents until my house has finished renovating. So I'm going to live with my parents for a couple of weeks. What about this example? Sue has a baby. Sue is having a baby. In the first sentence, we can say that this is a state verb. If you saw my video on state verbs, then you know that have is a state verb for possession. So we have to use present simple. Sue is having a baby. Well, this could have a number of meanings. It could mean that she's having a baby right now. In other words, giving birth. Or we could say that she is pregnant. Okay, and then she is going to have a baby sometime in the next 9 months. James walks to work. James is walking to work. In the first sentence, James walks to work. This tells us that walking to work is a habit and routine for James. This is his normal way to go to work. In the second sentence, James is walking to work. It can mean either right now, what is he doing? James is walking to work. Or it could mean that today James is walking to work, but normally he takes the train. So we could say that this is a temporary situation, and normally he takes the train. Okay, it says final points. here's the final point, really. Too often, I see students breaking the form. For example, they say, David run, or David eat, or he eat. It is a very easy mistake to make if you are a beginner, but I've also seen it with, higher level students. And I always tell them, he, she, it runs. Think of it as a mantra. Try to remember this. He, she, it runs. Runs. He runs, she runs, it runs, David runs, the dog runs, they run, I run, you run. Okay? Try to remember that. I hope that this video has been of some help for you. This is the first video in our series of basic tenses, and you can look forward to our future videos on past simple and past continuous, the perfect tenses, and future tenses. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, tell your friends, don't give up. See you soon.